Welcome to the Warning Track Power Hour. I am Dr. Andrew Scaff. He is Dr. Michael Werman, Esquire. On today's show, we'll be talking about the NFL's Week 13, including another hit to the Chiefs' playoff chances and a loss on Thanksgiving Day. We'll take another look at our bets from last week and our locks of the week, which are actually improving now at this point, so which is a nice change from the last several weeks. We'll also preview next week in the NFL, Week 14. Uh, we get March closer to the playoffs. We'll begin today's show once again with our Kansas City Chiefs taking another drop on the chin, I guess, this time. Thanksgiving Day loss, Mike, to the Dallas Cowboys. They now sit at 6-6 on the season. Still have a chance at the playoffs, though. Basically, every game is going to be a playoff game from here until the end of the season. If you had to guess right now, Mike, do you still have the Chiefs in the playoffs, or are you writing them off for the rest of this year?
I'm not writing them off simply because they have Patrick Mahomes, but I think they have basically have to win out to guarantee a spot. They might have to fit. I don't know if 10-7 will do it this year. There are too many teams in the hunt, but 11-6 should make it. I don't see how that wouldn't, but it's going to be tough, especially with the offensive line being so banged up right now. Both tackles could be out. One of the guard positions could be hurt still. So we
Yeah.
have three backup linemen, and that seems like it's a disaster. It's been a disaster when the line hasn't been perfect for Mahomes, especially against good teams. So, maybe this is another one of those seasons where the best case scenario might be a Super Bowl blowout loss. Reminiscent of last year's game against the Eagles or the Buccaneers game from a few years back. But simply making the playoffs, I think would be a great uh, result. I think for the Chiefs this year, just winning out, going 11-6. They have two games against teams that are not so good, the Raiders and the Titans, but then they have three games left against playoff contenders, Houston this coming week, then home against Denver. Home against the Chargers as well. So I guess the toughest three games are going to be at home, which is also good for the Chiefs. So three Arrowhead tough
Yeah.
game. Um,
But we know
but
like the Chiefs are good enough to win any game. So, but they have to win all of them in a row, essentially,
yeah,
too, which is the much trickier part, right?
yeah, they should have won. I think the game against Dallas because I think they had some calls that went against them that weren't terribly fair, especially some pass interference penalties that were kind of suspect on both sides, offensive and defensive pass interference called against the Chiefs. Mahomes
Right.
Mahomes played really well. Four touchdown passes, no interceptions. There are a couple of like bad drives in the middle of like the third and fourth quarter that just kind of cost the Chiefs momentum. But yeah, I think I saw somewhere though that winning five games in a row, the Chiefs have done that every year for the past 12 years. I think I
All
saw
right.
they've had a five-game winning streak every year for the past 12 years, and this is the first year they haven't had one. So if they win the next five, it'll be 13 years in a row.
But
Um,
they have 5 games left, right? So
yes,
it's not over yet, right? That's all they have to do, Mike,
yeah,
is just win the next 5 games.
win the next five games. Yeah, the Chiefs have a winning streak of five plus games for the 12th consecutive season. Every season under Andy Reid, basically they've had five team with a game with five consecutive a season with at least five consecutive wins. So
That's,
this
that's
is the
seems crazy. That's
yeah this is
highly unlikely, right?
well yeah, and so this will be since it always happens. So I guess that would say this is going to happen this time. So uh,
Yeah.
I don't know if that includes playoffs or not,
Oh yeah.
which it
Maybe,
could,
yeah, maybe it does, yeah.
but yeah, it's a
Well, it'll be tough to get to a fifth win in a row. If that would mean they take a loss in the regular season
yeah. I think they need to
and
win
then
all five.
and then still get into the playoffs and then win
Hmm.
at least one game there, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to bet on that scenario, I don't think.
Now you wanted to bet. Yeah, they need to win out basically.
Yeah.
Um, they need to win 9 games in a row probably to go to to win the Super Bowl.
Yes. Right.
So
Do they have a 9 game win streak in them?
I think they do, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. But it's possible somebody has to win each of those games, and I would say the
Right.
Chiefs would be favored in most of the games that they'll end up playing in the playoffs, even since especially they kind of roll in hot at 11-6. Um,
Yes.
they might be the sixth seed, fifth seed, something like that, seventh seed. I don't know what they'll be, but none of the higher teams are going to want to have to deal with them. So, but they need to win out. So it's also possible they finish something like 9-8 this year and out of the playoffs, and it's sort of
Yeah.
a rebuild maybe for next year. It might be a rebuild anyway for next year, just because I don't know, they're getting older and more expensive, and I don't know.
Well,
It's
we assume that Kelsey is retiring, as he has talked about. So it seems like you're going to have to rebuild at least some of like part of the face of the team, right?
Yeah,
If he's no longer there, because he's been around for a long time and part of the fabric of the team. So that would be a good turning point time to switch it up, maybe in some other places too.
yeah,
But yeah, it seems like something's going to have to be done with the offensive line, though, right? Maybe in multiple for multiple reasons. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
have you looked at the injury list? Are they? I guess it's too early to really know about practicing, right? Because this is only Tuesday when we're recording this, so we wouldn't have much of any information about the weekly appearance and practice if it's full practice, limited, or not
No,
participant.
we don't know that yet. Yeah, it's not in there yet, but um,
Simmons is unlikely. It was a dislocated and fractured wrist, so that's you would
hmm,
assume that he's not going to be there.
yeah,
Yeah, what Jawan Taylor was the elbow, wasn't it?
yes, and Trey Smith with his ankle.
Hmm.
Who knows what
But he's been out a couple of games already, right?
he missed a game and a half probably already. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's hard to say. Um, but it seems like the skill position players are coming back pretty healthy at this point. Um, Pacheco is coming back now from his injury. There have been a couple of dinged up receivers, but most of them seem pretty healthy. Um, the defense, most of the guys seem to be in good shape. So it seems like just basically the offensive line that's where the injuries are. So so but maybe that's it's a very important position group. But um,
Wow. Yeah, there are sometimes there are like plays they can call or not call, right? To maybe cover one loss on the offensive line. But if it's on both sides of the line where you're trying to cover,
yeah,
absent starters, then that makes it a lot tougher, doesn't it?
yeah, it might be more of a run. You might have to do more of a running game because it's probably they're better at run blocking than pass blocking the backups. Uh,
Yeah,
but the Chiefs aren't a running team really, so maybe
yeah,
a lot of quick throws like the 2023 offense was, or something like that.
yeah. But I mean, that seems like that's a fine way to run an offense, though. You use short passes as runs,
Yeah,
essentially, right? They've served the same purpose, but they're slightly riskier, though, right? Because the ball is in the air, so
yeah,
something can happen. But they've done that in the past. Did you notice during the Dallas game? Did you ever would you suggest to the team that they basically just copy the Cowboys offense? Did you notice that how like basically any time that Prescott had to roll out, there was somebody like comes uncovered like underneath, like every time. There was always somebody with an outlet
It seemed that
that was
way.
there. So it seemed like that was a designed way. Like there was like one blocker who was dedicated to like be like wherever the weak side was to like roll to that same side that like Prescott would roll then.
Hmm.
So like it always seemed like he had somebody to throw to if he had to leave the pocket anytime. And like the Chiefs like never seem to have that
No, it's like
open, right? It's like
sometimes it's like pulling teeth give the Chiefs to the offense turns into this just bogged down. Yeah, it's difficult. Nobody's open. You have to. McCombs has to hold the ball and scramble for a long time to try to get somebody open. Yeah, it's just a mess. But Chiefs did score 28 points.
right.
It's
But
kind of
like
lead.
did you see the window that he threw the ball to Kelsey for that
Yeah,
touchdown like that? It was like went like just over the helmet of the defensive player.
yeah. One of the
And I
Rice
don't
touchdowns also like that.
yeah. Like they were like narrowly like the window was basically the size of the ball to get to the Andrew.
Yeah,
But Dak seemed like he always had somebody like wide open for at least a short pass anytime he had to leave the pocket. So is that something the Chiefs can like figure out how to do that? And wouldn't that help them,
I think
you
they
would
need.
think, with
I
some
think they
of
need
those
less
plays?
offense of some type. I think it's. I think they need to do something new. But
Yeah.
they've been too successful with it, I guess, maybe to get rid of it. But a lot of that just
Yeah.
gets Mahomes is so good. He can prop up a bad offense and make it seem like it's okay. But yeah, so the Chiefs ended up losing by 3 points at Dallas. I ended up making was my first loss of the week and my only loss of the week in our locks of the week. I had the Chiefs at Dallas under 52 and a half. The 31-28 score was, of course, 59 total points. So there was a touchdown, one touchdown too many scored by Dallas. That would have, had it been 28-24, the Chiefs not only would have won, they would have won in the spread and they would have done well on the under. So they allowed one extra touchdown, partly I think because there were so many pass interference penalties called on Trent McDuffie against CeeDee Lamb, which was pretty. Yeah, I thought a lot of them were not very good calls. But the Chiefs ended up losing both outright. They were 3.5 point favorites. They lost outright by three, and then they also were over the 52 and a half to 59. So not a good outcome for yours truly on that game. But that was my only lock of the week. That was a loss.
Like the unders did okay for the week,
Hmm.
but not on Thanksgiving Day anyway. Because there were two of the three games were overs on Thanksgiving Day. So you think that has something to do with it? Are they like the prime games? Do they tend to go over? Have you looked at that? Like
No, yeah,
that's something we should probably look at for making picks anyway, right? Like if there is like a trend for like the Sunday night, the Monday night, Thursday night games, see if they like have a tendency to go over or under more often than not.
yeah.
Oh, one more thing about the Chiefs game I was going to ask you though, Mike. Were you immediately worried when you saw the referee crew? It
Who was the referee?
was John Hussey.
Don Hussey. Is he bad for the Chiefs? I don't know.
Oh, his crew calls a ton of penalties.
Yeah,
That's
that's
like that's their like history
yeah.
and in history I think that we've seen it directly. But I actually said something out loud at home watching the game was like oh When they show, it's like, here's the ref. And I see, like, oh, wow. Get ready for a lot of officiating, Mike. That was the next thing I said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sadly, that was correct. Should we also be watching who the referees are when we make some of our picks? So that would that help us, you think, or does that just add a complication to our
That just
selections?
adds too many complications for me, but maybe it's something that you could use and utilize in your handicapping.
Maybe I'll try to work in something next week for that. I did not do that this week, but maybe next week. Uh, I guess I should probably knock out my first loss of the week, uh, which actually was my only loss of the week. So we both ended up going 2-1 this week. So yeah, we can do one more loss, and then we can only talk about wins from here out.
Yes.
Uh, I had I made picks based on uh, games that I expected that if I am cursed, I would pick the winner of the game and then assume that that team would not just lose; they would be upset, not just like losing on the spread, but also losing the game, and that would and it would in effect help the Chiefs. I was unsuccessful in this, but I ended up getting two of my picks right. So that was this, I guess, side benefit of this method anyway. But it turns out I'm not completely cursed, Mike. I only one pick went the way that I wanted it to, which gave me a loss. But I don't know that this was the weakest of the games, so I'm not sure that it really helped anything. I had the Colts at -4.5 versus Houston. The Colts did end up losing this game outright. It was a 20-16. Houston won. It was a really tight game, and it kind of could have gone either way. Actually, in my picks, I actually crossed out the score, the which way I was going to pick this two different times before landing on the one that was wrong. Like,
Hmm.
so I did have the Colts -4.5. They did not win by more than 4.5. They actually lost by four. So that was my first loss of the week. Not a good pick, apparently.
Not a good pick.
Also, if I was that questioning of it, I don't know why it was one of my locks either, Mike.
Well,
Probably not a good sign if you
you
flip your pick.
you did it because I think you wanted you needed Houston a Houston loss. You wanted a Houston loss rather than a Colts. I don't know what you're looking for uh,
Right.
there,
Exactly.
but it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to find good lock picks. But yeah, Houston ended up winning that game, and now Indianapolis has lost a couple in a row. They're down to 8-4. They're playing the 8-4 Jacksonville Jaguars uh, uh, in uh, in week 14. So we'll talk about that game a little bit because that's one of my bets of the week next week. But this week, my two locks of the week that were winners were both big winners because not only did the underdogs cover the spread, but they also won outright in each of my locks of the week. If only I had had the courage to bet on the money line for both of those teams, I would have made a pretty penny this week. But I didn't. But Cincinnati went to Baltimore in the late Thursday night game, late Thanksgiving Day game. They were 7-point underdogs, but with Joe Burrow back and maybe Lamar Jackson looking a little shaky, um, the Bengals won at least 32-14. They won an easy game, so they won by 18 when they were when they were 7-point underdogs. So that was a big win for Cincinnati in Baltimore, and it keeps their playoff hopes alive. If Cincinnati wins out, very likely they could um, make the playoffs if they get a couple of breaks from the other teams in the NFC North. So they could beat 9-8 and win out and possibly make the playoffs as the number 4 seed. But that's still a long ways away. But they have to win for example, they have to win at Buffalo next week, which is another one of my potential locks of the week. So we're previewing those as much as we're reviewing my locks of the week. But Cincinnati +7 at Baltimore was a winner for me, and I feel good about that one.
But why did you not pick them to win outright though, Mike? That would have been a good payout for you.
It would have been. I should have. I don't know why I didn't. I wasn't. I thought they'd keep it close, but I thought they'd ultimately lose because it was Baltimore at home. I thought Baltimore would be able to do it, but Evidently not.
So I would say that I listened to you on the show and thought that you were confident enough that they would win. I did take them on the money line, so I did win on that pick for me
Oh,
on the
nice
big
job.
board. Yeah,
And I believe that was basically the difference between the two of us this week. It was almost the difference between the two of us was that win on the big
yeah,
board.
basically that would have made a huge difference. Yeah.
What was your first lock of the week that was a winner, Dr. Scaff?
First lock of the week that was successful. I had Jacksonville -6.5 at Tennessee. Jacksonville had a pretty easy game in this one. It was 25-3 was the final. Not terribly exciting. Jacksonville won easily covering the spread. They only needed to win by a touchdown. They won by 3. So yeah, 25-3 was the final there.
Yeah, that was Jacksonville playing very well lately. Good defensive game against a pretty bad team. So
Yeah.
that being a good bet for you. Now Jacksonville is actually the leader in the AFC South. Now they've passed Indianapolis, both 8-4, but the tiebreakers right now go to the Jaguars, who also are playing Indianapolis next week, which is another one of my potential locks of the week. So we've run into uh, a couple of those in this time. But my final lock of the week that was actually a very good result as well was Carolina at home, 10.5 point underdogs to the Rams, which struck me as way too many points for the Rams because it was a cross country trip. Plus Carolina's not that terrible this year, and they're basically fighting for a playoff position. They were 6-6. Now they're 7-6 going into their bye week. They actually won that game outright, 31-28. So. Um, if I'd picked that as a winner, that would have been a lot of money for yours truly on the big board. But I just thought Carolina would at least keep it close, and they did more than that, and they won by 3, and they kept Matthew Stafford had his first interceptions in several weeks. He had a pick six and also I think he fumble, strip sack, so he didn't have a great game against the tough Carolina defense. So Bryce Young, they got some touchdown passes from the pocket passer, and all is
3 of them. Yeah. He was
all
only
is
15 of 20, but 3 touchdowns though.
yeah, all seems right in the world in Carolina right now. So they're very happy with
Yeah.
their 7-6 record. So that was my second lock of the week. So I was a winner on Carolina plus 10.5 and Cincinnati plus 7. So two big underdogs came through outright winners for me this week. I missed Chiefs over under in Dallas, but I feel pretty good. What about your third lock of the week, Dr. Scaff?
Well, but yeah, there was another pick that you could have made on the money line and made a lot of money there. It was they were plus 525
Yeah,
on the money line, and that was one that makes me question the NFL in general though, because like the Rams have been playing really well, and that kind of game like doesn't really make sense to me. Like that it was a high scoring game and they lost a high scoring game. That seems absolutely crazy. But yeah, I guess it's turnovers, and if your defense scores, then that runs the score up immediately, right?
yeah,
No, yeah. I did not trust you when you made that pick, Mike. I picked against you on the big board there, and it cost me. But my final pick of the week though, I had the Chargers at -10 against the Raiders, who are now I think eliminated from the playoffs. They're one of I think 4 teams that are out now. Uh, and the Chargers won handily over the Raiders 31-14, easily clearing the 10 points there. I actually didn't think that they would be able to do that. I thought I was hoping that the Chargers would lose the game then because I'm cursed, but that did not happen. But I ended up winning the bet, so I'm at least okay with that, I guess. Chargers -10 ends up giving me a 2-1 record of the week. Finally breaking my all or nothing stretch. I think I'd lost the last 6 picks. Yeah. First
yeah,
non all or nothing in the last 5 weeks. One of those was a 3-0 though. So that was nice. But back on the winning side, Mike. 2-1 this week.
So where
Each of
are we
us,
on the year right now?
let's see, you are at 17, 21 and 1, minus $400. I'm at 15 and 24, minus $900. So you're about 5 picks up on me right now, still
Yeah.
on the season. So I still have my work cut out for me, but I need to go like 3-0 every week, and I need you to lose some more games. So make worse picks, Mike.
Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully not. But on the
No,
big board, you did a bit better than I did. You ended up winning a bit of money this week. You won almost uh six
five,
$550.
550. Yeah,
Yeah. And most of that came from your good picks on the spread and on the money line this time. You got 10 out of 15 on the spread, 10 out of 16 on the money line, including a couple of big upsets, including the Cleveland, and I mean the Cincinnati Baltimore game and the Indianapolis Houston game you got correct. So that was a good time for you. You didn't do quite as well on the over-unders, which I actually did better on than you this time. But I ended up losing $81, so nearly even, broke even. But you won about 550. So on the season, you're about $1,400 ahead of me on the big boards. But we both are losing a little bit of money. I'm losing about 3 grand. You're losing about 1,700.
yeah. But between us, it came down to the Monday night game. So like all the first 15 games of the week were we were basically even, and then we had two different picks on Monday night, and they both went my way, and that flipped the score. If
Yes, it
if
ended up
those
being
other if it ended up being if let's see, what if it was the Giants covered and it did not trip the over. So basically, like if one touchdown came off the board, that wouldn't be quite enough.
no.
You needed like 10 points off the board for New England, and then you'd have been fine.
Yeah, plus or that missed field goal that the Giants had when Young Hui Koo kicked the ground about
Yes.
3 feet in front of the football instead of kicking the football on a field goal attempt. That was maybe emblematic of the night that the Giants had. Not a good game for the G-men, but another great game for the Patriots, who are currently in position of the number one seed right now in the AFC. I believe they are 11-2 right now.
11-2, yeah.
Uh, they've had one more game in hand than Denver, who's 10-2, but they were going to be on a bye this coming week. But yeah, so perfect, almost a perfect season for Drake May so far, it seems like. So maybe is he the MVP front runner?
I guess. Yeah, usually it's whoever is the best player on the team that has the best record or the most surprising, maybe. So yeah, I don't know. I guess. Yeah, I don't
Went
know.
with Matthew Stafford before this past week, so I don't know what it's going to be. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it seems
well,
like whoever like seems to be the front runner immediately has a terrible week the next week, like after they've been talked about. Because if just a few weeks ago we're talking about Baker Mayfield being a possible MVP,
yeah, I
and
think if
then
Mahomes wins out and does well, maybe you could say make a name for Mahomes getting the Chiefs into the playoffs from 6-6 to 11-6. Uh,
yeah,
but that's going to be tough too.
it's a big ask.
Yeah. Um, anything else about the big board or our bets or week 13, or should we leave week 13 behind and move on to week 14?
I think we need to forget about it, Mike, and move on. Yeah,
Yeah, the
put it
Chiefs'
behind us.
loss was a tough one. They play this week home against the Houston Texans. They are again 3.5 point favorites against Houston at home. Uh, this is a game that the Chiefs desperately need. Houston needs it as well to keep pace in the AFC South, but it's really a game that the Chiefs have to win if they want to make the playoffs. And do you think the Chiefs will win this game, Dr. Schaffner? Was this a going to be the final one of the final death knells of the Chiefs season this year?
I don't know. I'm pretty worried about it, Mike. I'm not sure what's going to happen. At least it's at home, and that's maybe the main thing to like hold on to. But the Chiefs ESPN does show them as a 65% chance for the ESPN analytics. I don't know how much weight you put on ESPN analytics, but they seem to think that the Chiefs are have a better chance than not at winning the game. It doesn't look like the
Yeah,
weather's going to be too crazy. It's going to be a little bit cold, 27, cloudy, but not no expected precipitation during the game, so that may not change anything. We expect to see both quarterbacks. I think Stroud was back last week and played pretty well against Indy. So yeah, I mean you're seeing that like the team's major players being present. So but I don't know if you're going to get the best game though. That's the main thing here, right?
yeah, the Chiefs have to win this game basically, and so I'm
Yeah.
actually making my first lock of the week. This game, you heard it here first, Dr. Scaff. The Chiefs minus 3.5 against Houston. The Chiefs. I'm picking the Chiefs as 3.5 point favorites against the Texans. I believe they'll win by. I think they'll win by a touchdown or so, at least, and at least keep hope alive for a playoff berth later on in the season. So they have to win this game. So I think this is a must win. So I think usually the Chiefs are pretty good in real must win games. So I think the odds are that Chiefs are about 41% likely to make the playoffs. If they lose this game, their playoff chances really tank. But if they win, I think it gets over 50% their playoff chances. So I like their odds if they win. So I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. So I'm doing my first lock of the week, Kansas City minus 3.5 over Houston in the Sunday night football matchup.
Looks like the spread actually opened at 5.5, -5.5 for the Chiefs. So it's like it has shrunk a little bit. That's good for your pick though, right? You like
Yeah,
you like that number a little bit better because you like the Chiefs to win.
I do like the number better, especially with the offensive. I think it's probably because the offensive line is so banged up. That's probably why the number went down a bit. So
Yeah, I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm afraid to say too much because I still think I have some kind of curse though, Mike. That's what I'm afraid of.
okay,
Is that fair enough?
that's fair. So speaking of curses, who is your first cursed pick of this week 14 action?
First, the first pick that I'm going to make is actually in the Thursday night game. Uh, and I almost didn't make it, but then you made a nice point here for me that made this pick make more sense, at least on paper. Like Thursday night games usually aren't necessarily the best games. Like you can't really predict them quite as well on short rest. But both these teams actually did play on Thanksgiving, so they're on full rest. Thank you for noticing that, Mike. But I've got Detroit has been struggling a bit recently. Dallas has been playing pretty well, so I'm going to actually take Dallas at +3 on the road at Detroit as my first pick this week. Not a typical Thursday game. This is more like a Sunday game that happens to be being played on Thursday. That's why I like this Thursday game better than most Thursday games.
Yeah, I like that pick myself because I think the way Dallas has been playing, they've been playing better than Detroit. Dallas is really also, I think, um, has been really solid on offense. The Chiefs played both of these teams this year. They beat Detroit fairly easily, and then they lost to Dallas. So maybe if you think of the transitive property, uh, then Dallas should beat Detroit in this game. But they're 3-point underdogs, so you're getting some points as well. So even if it's a close loss, you still have a chance. You'd probably like it a little better if it was a 3.5 point underdog rather than just this three.
Yeah.
But I think it's a pretty good pick. Um, it's a high over under 53.5 that game. Um, and right now the over odds are -120, so it's probably going to go up higher, the over under maybe 54.5 coming up. But
And that is the highest over under of the week too, is it not?
yes, it is.
Stark contrast to the Tennessee Cleveland game that I don't think either one of us is interested in betting on.
33 and a half over under. No, neither of us. I'm not betting on that game. Tennessee is 4.5 point underdogs at Cleveland, which I think is probably a solid number. I actually, if I had to go one of those teams, I'd probably pick Cleveland at home. Even with Shedeur Sanders as quarterback, I think they can win by more than 4.5 points. But who knows?
Yeah.
That's not my second lock of the week. My second lock of the week, as I previewed earlier, was Cincinnati involved Cincinnati. They're at Buffalo. They're 6 point underdogs in Buffalo. They were 7 point underdogs in Baltimore last week. So I think since the Bengals handled Baltimore pretty easily, I think they have a chance of beating Buffalo in Buffalo. Buffalo's been really up and down this year. I think Cincinnati with Joe Burrow back, with Jamar Chase, and hopefully with T. Higgins back in the lineup, they can really give Buffalo a run for their money. So I think 6 points is, I think they can at least keep it close, maybe win outright. So 6 points for Cincinnati, I think is a lot of points. So I'm taking the points. Cincinnati plus 6.
Cincinnati's defense is pretty decent too, and yeah, Buffalo, what they've had some turnover problems too, and Cincinnati is capable of making that happen again, right?
Yeah.
So that may help. That may help them too. It doesn't look like again like weather will be a big factor there, so we don't expect to be like a 6-3 type of game, right?
hmm
In some kind of like giant blizzard.
No,
We
I
should
don't.
we shouldn't be seeing that. Yeah. But you'd be okay with that score because that would mean
Yeah,
you'd cover your plus six easily.
cover and it would be an under, so I'd really like that score. But
Yes.
I don't think that's going to happen quite like that.
Nah, probably not.
How about your second lock of the week, Andrew?
Second log of the week this week is going to be in the Chicago Green Bay game. Chicago's been playing basically every game super tight, and they've been winning most of these games late even. Uh, I don't really necessarily expect them to win, but they are 6.5 point underdogs against Green Bay. I think they're going to keep this one close. These division matchups tend to be fairly heated and end up being fairly close. I think Chicago can keep it within the touchdown. So I got Chicago plus 6.5 at Green Bay.
Yeah, I think Chicago can keep it close. They also, I think currently Chicago is the number one seed now in the NFC. So uh, you think they would be closer to a favorite. Green Bay played pretty well against Detroit in the Thanksgiving game, so maybe that's why Green Bay's getting the benefit of
Yeah.
a little couple more days rest. But Chicago's on a full week rest, and I think yeah, I think they can. I think they can keep it close at Green Bay. It's not a long trip up to Lambeau, even if it's cold and windy. The Bears are used to those conditions, so
Yeah. And it
I
is
think
a Sunday 3:30 game
I think that's
Central.
I think that's a good pick. Um,
Yeah. How about your third and final pick for the week, Mike?
my third and final pick for the week is the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are actually 1.5 point favorites in Jacksonville. Uh, each of those teams is 8-4. I think Jacksonville, the way they've been playing lately, has been better than the Colts. And Daniel Jones has been injured. He's has that fractured fibula that he's been playing on, so I think he's not quite himself. And also it's at home in Jacksonville, so I like the Jaguars' chances. So they're plus 1.5. I think Jacksonville probably wins that game outright. So I think getting the points, any points on Jacksonville is a bonus. So Jacksonville plus 1.5 versus Indianapolis in Jaguar land.
Do you think these are two teams going in opposite directions, or is that
Uh,
maybe just a blip for now?
Possibly going in opposite directions, but at least right now, I think Indianapolis is starting to come down to earth a little bit. They'll have a very tough schedule coming up, and I could see Jacksonville kind of hitting their stride right now. So I don't think either of those teams are great teams, but they're both pretty good teams.
I think Anthony Richardson, I believe, is injured too. So I don't think that if Daniel Jones has to come out for any reason, I don't think they have anyone with experience to really come in too. So it's a. Do you remember from your uh season
Quarterback
preview,
list.
quarterback preview, who the third QB is in for the Colts?
Right now it's Riley Leonard. So who is Riley Leonard, you might ask? Everyone.
Do you remember who Riley Leonard is? I did
Uh,
not.
I remember the name Riley Leonard.
He was
Riley,
a sixth round pick from this year.
sixth round pick from Duke. Yeah, he played for Duke and Notre Dame. I remember for Notre Dame um, last year. So yeah, he's the backup quarterback right now.
But no, no NFL experience.
No NFL experience. Um,
Really. I mean, it looks like he got a couple of snaps in one game this year, but I don't think that really counts.
mhm. No, but he's a dual
No.
threat quarterback. He ran for 906 yards and 17 touchdowns for Notre Dame. Also passed for another 21 touchdowns, leading Notre Dame to the national championship game, I believe, last year. So, solid college quarterback, but probably not, not seen as a great NFL talent. Only sixth round draft pick. So, um, that's the same, I guess, draft pick status as Gardner Minshew had as well. He's been
Yeah.
and Tom Brady, of course, was a famous sixth round draft pick, so you can't
Right.
do every sixth round pick. But yeah, it seems like they don't have a lot of depth right now without Richardson behind Daniel Jones. So again, he needs to play for the team to do well.
Well, like you were saying, like he has an injury, so like if for any reason he does have to come out, then like you would expect that there to be a big drop off then, just in at least an experience.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's always a possibility in any NFL game, right? That there's some kind of injury, but hopefully that doesn't happen for Daniel Jones' sake.
Yes.
But yes, so my last pick for this week, I'm going to the Monday night game. The Chargers have been playing pretty well. Philly has struggled a bit. They've dropped a couple of games recently. They have not been able to really put a lot of points on the board. The Chargers defense is pretty decent too. So I'm going to take in this Monday night game. I'm actually going to take the Chargers at plus 2.5, Philadelphia. This is one of those scenarios where if Philly does go ahead and beat the Chargers, that's actually good for the Chiefs too. So like I will be happy with the result. I think either way, uh, the Chargers lose, or if the Chargers do win, then at least I'll win this bet. That's my logic on this one here, Mike. I'm tired of being disappointed all around on some of these picks.
Yeah, I might as well reach for the stars on these picks this point of the year.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, and just go for whatever will help you the most. And picks like that will help you quite a bit in both the uh, big board and the locks of the week. So yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. I guess one thing you would want the Chargers to lose to the Eagles if you're a Chiefs fan, just to keep them a bit closer. Uh,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, so if Philly wins, I'll be happy. I will have lost my bet though, but
yeah,
I can be happy with one of the outcome either way then, right?
that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes
Yes. Like, well, the Chargers won, and it's bad for the Chiefs, but I got my pick right, so I get that to fall back on, I
yeah,
suppose.
yeah. That's not a bad. You win either way in that game.
I can find a way to win that way. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Are there any other games we've missed talking about that are big matchups in week 14? We do have a few teams with the bye. New England, the Giants, 49ers, and the Panthers each have byes. I think those are our last byes of the season for any team. Any other games that we've missed? We've mentioned most of the big games, I think. Pittsburgh, Baltimore maybe is the game we haven't mentioned. Do you think it seems like it's also two teams coming off tough losses this past week, and teams that have really lost the momentum, it seems like they gained earlier. Uh, who do you like in the Pittsburgh Baltimore matchup? Pittsburgh at Baltimore.
Yeah, that's another one that's really tough. Like, kind of both teams aren't really playing all that well. Aaron Rodgers is still dealing with his non-throwing hand wrist injury. He seemed like he played through it okay, but they still lost last week though. So I don't know how to trust Pittsburgh so much. They are what even with the Chiefs, I think, in record, but they have a slight tiebreaker over the Chiefs. And we kind of want one of these teams to just win the division and knock the other team down and not keep them like, close around where the Chiefs where the Chiefs are also. So I would kind of lean Baltimore, I think, right now, because Pittsburgh just doesn't seem like they're reliable. But I really don't know what to expect from this one at this point, unless we know more, like about, if somebody's going to be injured or out or something before the last day of this one. How are you picking this one?
I hope Pittsburgh wins actually because I think Pittsburgh is less good than Baltimore. And so that's I would guess I would want Pittsburgh to win, and then have Pittsburgh win the division, and have the Chiefs beat out Baltimore for the wild card. Because I think if the Chiefs have to play a division winning um, Ravens team, that'll be a much tougher game than playing a division winning Steelers team in the playoffs. So I think, or a division winning Bengals team in the playoffs. I think having the Steelers would be the weakest team, and if the Chiefs end up having to play them as a 5-4 matchup or something like that, you would like their
Yeah.
in that game. So
Well,
that's why I like the Steelers.
well, yeah, because he kind of, I guess, what this if the Steelers win the division, that's like better for the Chiefs too, right? Like, because then the Chiefs already have a tiebreaker with Baltimore,
Tiebreaker with Baltimore. And
right? So like if they're in the same pool then in the wild card spots, then they have an edge there if they can end up tied with them.
much more than likely they'll end up with a better record in the playoffs than the Bengals will because they've already lost 8 games. So
Yeah.
I think you want the Steelers to win that division if you're the Chiefs because you might end up
Yeah.
on the road in the playoffs against that NFC North division winner. And essentially, the Chiefs sneak into the 5 seed, they play a 4, and you kind of like that. And then they play 1, and then if it's New England as number 1, you just have to win at Pittsburgh and at New England to get to the AFC Championship game. And you think that might be the way to go do it. Because it's coming off a bye. New England might be a little bit uh, rusty, also a little scared of the Chiefs if they're the lowest seed coming through. So you know,
Yeah.
yeah, it's thinking far ahead, but it might be the way you'd want to go.
I like it though. That makes sense. The strategy makes sense. Yeah. It's and that'd be an ideal outcome, I think, for the Chiefs if they can win these five games.
If they can win the 5 games, yeah,
Yeah. There's a lot of things that need to go right to get to there.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Well,
yeah.
does that wrap it up for this week's episode of the One Track Power Hour? We've gotten through a fairly quick week this week, but I don't know if we have any TV recommendations or any new uh,
Mm.
oddball sort of factoids that are needed to be revealed, but maybe we'll save those for next week.
I did take your advice last week and I did watch Death by Lightning, Mike. That was a great recommendation.
See, yeah, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, Nick Offerman as Chester A. Arthur was a big hit for me, and Michael Shane
Yes.
is always good as Jay. He just plays a very good, kind of very serious, no nonsense kind of guy.
Right. Yeah. No, everyone was great in that one. And what the Conklin character was a great villain too for the show.
Yeah,
So it was, yeah. Yes. Yeah. He was the other actor that was from
Boardwalk Empire, Shea Wiggum.
Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Nucky Thompson's brother. Uh, he
Right.
was
That's
the
right.
sheriff of Atlantic City for a while.
Yes. Yeah. Like all of the acting was great in that though. They were like really good, kind of in, crazy characters all throughout. So yes. How accurate was that? You're an historian, not necessarily in this period though,
I think it was fairly.
is your expertise.
I think some of the dialogue may not have been terribly accurate, but it
Yeah.
sounds modern to me. But I think when Garfield talked, I think he sounded of the period. I thought Chester A. Arthur sounded a little bit too modern in
Mm,
his diction, but I think in general it was fairly accurate because Guiteau was this guy who thought of himself as being helpful in the campaign and somebody who was owed an ambassadorship or something like that. Uh,
mm,
Garfield, I think, was a reform-minded president, and then Arthur ended up actually signing in reforms after Garfield died. So, I'm not sure about the personalities of everybody. I don't know that much about their personalities, but I think in politics, I think it was fairly accurate, and I like the
yeah,
period costumes and the um, yeah, and things like that were I think pretty good too.
yeah. A lot of like veiled insults, like in nice language and everything was of that time though too, right? Because that was a
Yeah.
lot of yeah. And now the discourse is a bit different.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yes, we are in a new age of the spoils system
Yes.
currently.
So it ended up being pretty topical, being able to compare and contrast with our current system
Yeah, we
a bit.
need a new Chester Arthur or a new Garfield as president.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
Um, Well, we'll have to wait at least another 3 years for a presidential election, but you won't have to wait another 3 years for the next episode of the One Track Power Hour, because that will come next week, where we will preview Week 15 and review Week 14 of the NFL, and also any other topics that come across the news desks here at the Power Hour. We're always up to discuss anything that may or may not happen in the world of sports or otherwise. So be on the lookout for next week's episode. Uh, and until next week, as always, I am Dr. Michael Werman. He is Dr. Andrew Scaff. We are the Warning Track Power Hour. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, available on YouTube, and or our podcast, available on any podcast delivery platform that you're using right now. Um, we appreciate your viewership, and your listenership. And we also, this weekend, wish you the best of luck if you're making bets. This is also in college football. This is the weekend of the conference championship games. And so we'll soon have the playoff field set. And so we'll make some college football playoff bets this year, like we did last year. Last year, I ended up picking Ohio State as the national champion, and they were. This year, I think Ohio State's probably a much more obvious pick. They've been undefeated all year, but maybe they'll lose out to Indiana in the Big Ten championship. Who knows? But they'll assuredly make the 12 team playoff. But we have that to look forward to next week as well. So if you're making bets this weekend, we wish you the best of luck, as long as your interests do not conflict with ours. Anything else to say, Dr. Scaff?
Nah, no.
Well,
Yep.
from Yep, nope,
No.
nope. Well, from us at the Warning Trek Power Hour, we wish you a good day.